fact, speaking of IT services, let's straight away get to that conversation with TCS. Reema is standing by along with Latha, and they are chatting with the TCS CFO, Samir Seksaria, as well as CHRO, Milind Lakkad.
Thanks a lot for that, Surabhi. We have Samir and Milind with us. Samir, Reema titled her, reaction piece by saying predictably slow. So, it didn't hurt anyone that, or it didn't upset any analyst that the margins have come from 23.5 to 23.2. But, what everyone wants to know is, does it go below 23.2? Do you have any evidence now to say that, yes, that's it, this is it?
So if you look at it, typically the biggest headwind which we have is taken up front. And from here, in any typical year, we would go up only. And that is what we should expect to go. There should be no doubts why we should not be, why we should peak it. There's an environment of uncertainty which is there, but we should be able to use all our levers to ensure that we can balance it and move upwards from here.
That's very good to hear. You're almost starting with a boundary. Just one word before Reema, I hand it over to you. 40,000, you've repeated that number several times. But when I look at the last 4 quarters, the numbers are barely adding up to 9,000. So that becomes a bit of a worry. You're not hiring because you're not seeing enough business. Becomes one way of thinking about it.
No, this is 9,000 is a net addition.
Net. I meant net only.
Yeah.
Look at the net the previous 4 quarters.
No, that was a deliberate. That was an investment which we made deliberately at the time so that we can, have that investment getting leveraged now. That is the point, and we will, continue to hire trainees. Like I said, 40,000 number stands. But market, from the market, we will decide based on how the business situation every quarter is. So I think we are on the same path.
Does it come back to a healthier number? I mean, will the last 4 quarters start looking like 20,000-25,000?
I would suggest that we should look at it differently. We should look at it from a standpoint of that, for us to make, a profitable business, what is the best thing for us to do? And that is what we are trying to do. And getting people from the campus is very, very, very important for us, and that will not stop. That will continue to do. Market is again based on the situation in the market.
Are you going slow on backfilling attrition, as it's called, compared to last year?
So no, I think backfilling attrition from a standpoint of whether we can leverage our own people to backfill that attrition. Yes, absolutely. We'll do that. And with the investment we have made in our talent development for the last 18 months is now paying off.
Okay, so backfill attrition is going to be lower. So the net headcount addition this year is going to be much, much lower, right? This quarter it's been 500 odd.
I believe so. Yes, it will be on the lower side, but that doesn't mean that we are going to stop hiring trainees, or we are going to stop honoring offers. Fair
enough, but that's on the trainee part or the freshers onboarding. What I was asking about, the existing employees, when they quit, you're not looking to replace them, and which is why the net headcount addition this year could track the same run rate.
That's right, and like we talked about, utilization being on the lower side, that also will get used. Bringing productivity and efficiency also is important. All of that will come together to backfill.
Samir, I understand that every year you start with weak Q1 margin and then you claw them back as the year progresses. But do you think this time, clawing back margins, which we typically see in Q2, Q3, Q4, is going to be a little more difficult, slower than what we've seen in the past? Because, for instance, your subcontracting costs may no longer be a lever. It's practically back to what it was pre-COVID. So the margin recovery from Q1, will it be less than what we've seen historically?
That's the uncertainty bit in terms of how much it would happen. Why it would happen is what Milind just now talked about, and what you were asking him about, the headcount addition, etc. Utilization, definitely he narrated to, is a lever, and the capacity addition which we have done, we had enough capacity, and at that time we had talked about we are at a sweet spot that we can divulge into a high growth scenario versus a scenario where there's a softness which we are seeing right now, and we can double down on what's available as the capacity. We'd look at productivity. These would be the levers which we will concentrate on to get the margin back up.
So that's the lever, the fact that you have already hired and you could utilize them better.
Yes.
That's the lever for better margin. And that better margin will show, like right now, Q2?
Let's see, there are multiple factors playing out, right? So we have to balance it and we'll work it out. Our intent is to creep back up, definitely.
Okay. No, your first candid answer was yes, it gets better from here.
That is the intent.
Okay. No, intent is always there. Your intent was always 25-26%.
It's still there.
Okay. No, I wanted to come to another point where perhaps margin could be a drag. ChatGPT can write a code. I mean, I don't know the ABC of code, but now thanks to ChatGPT, I get somewhere. Won't people pressure you to at least bill lower, even if not even take away contracts?
Mm-hmm. So, one, if you look at generative AI piece, it's an evolutionary phase, and right now what it does is low-end stuff. While it can definitely write snippets of code or auto-correct something, it can't put that entire enterprise-wide framework of code in place. And while it will definitely aid productivity in some form or the other, what we have seen in any technology cycle is any new technology form coming in brings it with itself volumes of business also. So our expectation is that would something play out. And how we do on the productivity part is something which will help us in terms of managing the margin as well.
So there will be billing pressure, but you will make up for it with more work.
From a revenue perspective. And the productivity part, how it is, what models are being used as pricing and as contracting with the customers will decide on the margin part of it.
Okay. So generative AI deflationary or not? Yes or no?
No, not at all.
But it sounds like there could be billing pressure because of that. Milind, is there at least lower pressure on the cost of employees, both new and lateral? I mean, there was a crazy search for techies when COVID first broke out, and your attrition has gone down. So the pressure, therefore, can you expect lower costs on Samir?
Absolutely. In a word, yes. And the reason being, the last 24 months have been, very out of the ordinary, and that situation is not there anymore. And, we continue to basically have a strong pyramid coming in. Our cost of a pyramid is, when we hire, is lower than the cost of our own company. So, which is actually continues to help us to drive this.
Milind, attrition in the past for TCS has been 12-13% also. When do you think you can get back to that?
I will not give the number, but we'll come back to industry-leading retention numbers for us in the second half of this year.
What does that mean? You've anyway been industry-leading.
Always been.
Exactly. So
I mean, you still are. So what will you achieve?
Attrition level is still
lower
than the industry.
So when I say industry-leading levels which we used to have earlier, we'll get to that point.
Okay. I'll have to dig a little more deeper to understand the nuance of that statement. But Samir, yesterday Wipro, for instance, announced a $1 billion investment in generative AI. Do you have any ballpark amount that you have outlined as an investment?
See, I'll call out the investments which we have been making. We are the learning part, the talent investment is the key part. We are training more and more associates. We have put in that we'll have 100K associates put on or trained on the AI and generative AI piece. The research part, our CTO team has been extensively working on for many years. They have about 700 plus patents which are already put on AI in the last 5 years itself. We are looking at partnership with various players, existing as well as new. And we are also open to any other forms of investments which are there.
But no number.
I'll not put a number to it.
But can it contribute to revenues, generative AI in FY24 or even FY25, or it's going to take much longer?
The intent of any investment would be that in future it generates revenue for sure.
Of course.
No, the point is it already happening? Should we
So we have about 50 projects which are in the POC phase, which we called out yesterday.
Yes.
So that's already happening.
Okay. You mentioned that your big raw material, labor, is going to be where you will get margins. Is there anything else, any other lever for improving margins?
So 3/4 of our costs are manpower, and if we add external consultant side, which is also linked to it, it comes to almost 85% of it. On the balance ones, as I said, on the discretionary spend also, they were low post-pandemic, right? Now they have started also increasing, and they have got to a critical mass that we can start looking at optimizing them as well.
Okay. You know, the fact that you'll always, I mean, at least for the past few quarters, have been announcing larger deal wins, but the revenue catch up, I mean, this time it was flat, but it's been slowing. Looks like your older clients are pulling back in terms of the pace of execution. Is there any improvement in that as we enter the second quarter?
No, that's the current situation, that existing projects are being paused, being relooked at, and that is what we are seeing right now. It happened through the quarter, and in its current form, it continues.
So projects which were put on pause in February, March, have they restarted or are they still on hold?
Some of them have been put on pause indefinitely. Some of them have started back. It's a mixed bag. Some of them, a lot of them, what we have seen is come with a reduced scope.
Okay, so how many would you say have been put on hold indefinitely? 50%? Is it
not many of them indefinitely. Most of them would be coming with a reduced scope or altered scope.
Would you have a lot of training costs because of generative AI and new technologies?
Our training cost has always been at a very high levels, and that will, will continue like that. Because we believe that is the right investment. For always has been like that. And this aspect of Gen AI or AI in general actually has also been there. We already have 100,000 people who are trained in AI. That will continue, and that I don't think that will have a material impact on any of these parameters.
Okay. Well, just one soft question, if there's time, Reema. There were reports that more women chose to stay back. So will you all go the distance for gender parity?
I'm so glad you asked that question. Let me just give you some metric.
I saw the metric. It's still 35%.
No, that's not the point. I think our attrition for women was just only 60 basis points more than the overall attrition. And it is not because of this year. It has been actually historical like this. But if you look at women attrition in IT, in technology, it is actually better than men. So, we have very happy associates and women as well, and that continues. All our policies are very, very aligned with what we need to do in various situations, expectant mothers, new mothers, caring for elderly, all of that, flexi working. I think there is a lot more we can do, and we'll continue to do that.
Good to hear that.
Milind, just one final question, from a soft to a hard one. This ongoing investigation in the hiring scandal, could you give us an update?
We already said what we needed to say at this point in time. There's nothing more I can add at this point.
All right, Samir, Milind, pleasure speaking with you. And I think the big takeaway for those who are invested in your stock is you saying that 23.2 it is, and it is flowing up from here. That's a big takeaway. Thank you very much, gentlemen. All the best.
Thank you.
Well, back to you, and in a minute we will have the CEO and the COO joining us.
All right, Latha, thanks a lot for that. We're awaiting actually that discussion with TCS's new CEO, K. Krithivasan. It's his first interview, and the CEO, N. Ganpati Subramaniam. That comes in just a bit. Do stay tuned in.